For those of you who don't know the drill is you really got to check in with who you are before we even talk. We know who you are. And take a minute just to really think how cool it is in here. Why you're in here and not out there. And as you take that minute, just make sure your body is seated properly. And I'm going to start. I'll explain what's happening to those of you who are brand new. Who's brand new, never been here before? Welcome everyone. That's such a nice. We're all going to induct you and we're going to do that whole blah 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 thing by then. kidding. I'm glad you came. Just try and check in with why you're here. Yeah. Unless someone's paying you to do it. Traditionally, we begin by checking that motivation, and you're going to be thinking about different things in the next 2 hours, hopefully, than you usually think. Or you're going to put focus on things that come up in your consciousness sometime through your life, and because the rest of the life is busy, they tend to go away. So hopefully for the next 2 hours, you could really put some light on the things that keep emerging every now and then as you get busy through your life, and get some foundation for when they come up again. This is the second course of an 18-course program called Asian Classics Institute. It's a summary of the Geshe degree, which is like a doctorate in philosophy. It's exactly the same curriculum that the Dalai Lama and all his buddies are getting taught or have been taught. It's summarized and produced in the English language only in the last 15 years. So you're getting something extremely precious if you're open to receive it. But it only means anything if you could apply it to stuff that's meaningful to you. Real practical, shifting a life that looks like everybody else's life to an amazing life that is filled with a special kind of bliss that is hard to describe. You can just experience it. So hopefully we'll describe it. We begin by, I can't teach you unless you request it, and so traditionally in Tibetan Buddhism, you imagine, you do this funny finger thing, you don't have to do it if you don't know how, but what you're trying to imagine is that with your thoughts, you're shifting the entirety of the universe from you outward to the most perfect place you can imagine. Not a single drop of suffering. In fact, every experience that any being on this universe is having is magnificent. You can make trees of gold and dolphins doing lovely things. I don't know how you do. I've got the dolphins. I'm saying, imagine the most perfect universe you can imagine coming from this world out, and then offer it to whatever that is, the source of wisdom from which you take information. And if you get in contact with that in the next 2 hours, sounding awfully esoteric, isn't it? I'll make it more practical. Then it's worth giving everything you can. So just say. Who can say? Thank you. Say means chant mistress. Mistress. So she leads, we follow, and then after we do this, which is requesting for teachings, we then do this 3-turn request for refuge, which is what we're talking about. So.
Sashi
Kukiya Jishin Matokran Viram Embodies Sangha Shindu Mitevargi Broken Namda Shinla Chiparsho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kamninyatayami Chedam Zuhi Chabnama Shanchu Bardu Rakni Gyalsuchi Daki Chinye 기배전원기 드롤라pen 실성계주파쇼 주량석이 적명나 전주발주답니 겹수지 다기 증행기 배전원기 드롤라pen 실성계주파쇼 주량석이 적명나 전주발주답니 겹수지 다기 증행기 배전원기 드롤라pen 실성계주파쇼. And now just take a very comfortable seated position. We're going to meditate for about 5-7 minutes. Anyone never meditated before properly? Great. Good. So I'll just lead you on it. The important thing is make sure your bum is higher than your knees a little bit. So if you can roll something up back there, that'd be nice. So you sort of your pelvis curved forward. Your back is straight. That's really the main thing. You have a solid foundation in your back is straight. Hands on the side, the chin parallel to the ground, the eyes looking down, almost sharp but not quite, enough to let in light. You're breathing through your nostrils. Shoulders balanced, and just relax your body as you're sitting there. I'll lead you through it, and we'll take 5 to 7 minutes. The first thing I'd like you to do is focus on your breath. Observe that sensation of the air entering and exiting your body through the nostril. Just observe it. Feel it. If you manage to focus on your breath and just your breath for just that minute or millisecond, then you've meditated. You've just done meditation. Try and focus that sensation for a little bit longer now and see the changes in the sensation as the air enters and exits your nostrils. Just naturally let it in and out. Begin to get aware of your body. Try and feel a sensation from the base of your body pulling you down like gravity. There's an internal force pushing down towards the ground, making you very, very solid. Relax into that sensation. Try and ride that sensation with your mind. Your mind is one with that sensation. Now imagine an opposite force also working against that dropping down energy. Imagine a motion pulling you up, like a string from the tip of your head pulling you up, the opposite of gravity. Both these movements are happening in your body at the moment. Feel one pulling you up. Makes your back beautifully straight. Your head almost suspended like a doll's tidying with a string to the sky. And just park your body there. Just let the body sit there as you begin to focus inward and getting acquainted with your mind as you shut down the senses of movement, of sight, sound and smell and the rest. We're going to go and hang out with the interpreter of all those things, this essence of you, your mind. For those of you who have done a bit of meditation here, we're doing something slightly different today. I'd like you to imagine or to look within yourselves the most evolved part of you can find. Either the highest understanding of wisdom you have, the highest level of compassion that you have, some time in your life where you felt a deep love that made you almost disappear. Some knowledge you have around how things work around you. Some awareness that you can improve life. Look for that part of you. If it's a memory, recall it. If it's an image, watch it. And try and identify that sensation somewhere within you and move that sensation at the level of your heart inside of you. Shrink it down to a tiny seed of light at the core of your heart. This is the wisest part of you, the most compassionate part of you, currently in your mind. Let the rest of the body inside of you get translucent, almost disappear, until the skin and the edges of your body become also almost translucent. Perfect that with every breath to a few breaths, maybe up to 5, as you focus on that tiny seed of light that is the most evolved part of you, and your body light and translucent. Now I'd like you to focus on that seed of wisdom inside of you, that thing that is the core of your wisdom and your compassion, and recognize that it evolved from something. It came from a previous moment where you gathered information, where you practiced compassion and love. It was produced by actions inside of you, by efforts inside of you. So I'd like you to project into the future, a medium or distant future, where that very core of you becomes the highest expression of an most evolved being, becomes a Buddha, an enlightened thing. So you are looking at the future you as an enlightened being, as a person that's reached the end of a path and has been perfected, as a mind that is clear of all obstacles, and a heart that is filled with love towards everything it encounters. It doesn't have your face, doesn't have your body. It is that seed multiplied through time, ever expanding wisdom and compassion. Invite that future you to come and sit in front of you, facing you now. Now ask that future you, the one that's most evolved, to please come and teach you all the things you have to do to reach that goal. Ask them to show you the obstacles that you need to get over to reach the highest state of being you can reach. That future you knows what they are. Offer them something of beauty, something from your current state to your future state, for having reached that goal, for helping you. It could be a sunset, it could be your best moment of of the day. And you see them take your offering. Now in front of them, since they know your mind, I want you to think back at one thing that you did in the last 24 hours that you wish you hadn't. Something that caused some unhappiness in the world. Some moment of anger or jealousy, wishing another person didn't feel happy. And just live through that moment again in your mind, wishing that you could undo it, because it will cause you pain. And looking at it objectively, try and make a commitment not to do that for a while, or to make efforts not to do that next time you're presented with the same situation. And somehow doing that cleans it away. Now I'd like you to think of the most beautiful thing that you did in the last 24 hours. You helped somebody. You were happy for another person's happiness. You created some goodness into the immediate world around you. And feel a sense of pride for having brought that into the world. A sense of joy that you're advancing on a better world for you. Now imagine all the people in the world that are also doing some small goodness or some large goodness. Feel a happiness for them. That there is this force in the world that's making things better. Your awareness of that grows your evolution. Next, I'd like you to look at that being that is you in the future, the enlightened you, and observe them for a while. And as you observe them, really build a sensation in your body that you want them to teach you how to get there. By whatever means they appear in your mind from now on, ask them to please teach you what you need to learn. They agree. So ask them to please stay until you reach that point in your evolution, and always stay. And as you ask them, you see them rising up and turning around, facing the same direction you're facing, and rising up to just above the tip of your head and shrinking down to the size of a thumbnail. Condensed wisdom, your future Buddhahood, or enlightenment, or wisdom, just above your head, protecting you. Try and maintain that state of mind just above you for the next couple of hours as you focus on ideas that could help you change your world. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming on this beautiful summer's day. For those of you who are new, we're right at the beginning of course 2. So luckily I get to be the review guy. I review all the time, so you never miss out. Actually, I don't review, I make the others review. So I just check that they're right. Ellie, do you want to, while I do that, would you be so kind Okay, here's the Tibetan, and Tibetan. Yeah, I just need the Tibetan. The Tibetan. I think there's just 3 areas. Oh, 3, maybe 4. Okay, so what do we remember from last week? Anyone? I don't remember anything.
Refuge.
So this is a course, 12-week course on refuge. That's a sense of protection that we all have, wanting to go for protection, we all have every single day. We'll do the definition of refuge today, but just to review last week, I want to see, I didn't cover the entire of class 1 last week, so I'll cover it now. Who's doing the homeworks and quizzes? Let's just have a look at that. Good on you, thank you. Good on you, thank you, thank you. It's really important. It'll make an entire difference to your world. So, what's Prajnaparamita? Anyone remember me teaching that? No? Perfection of wisdom. Thank you. The Prajnaparamita is perfection of wisdom. The reason we're going there is because to understand the idea of Buddhist refuge, we have to understand this thing called the perfection of wisdom, Prajnaparamita. The Buddha taught for like 51 years, and out of that many texts, many sutras covered the Prajnaparamitas. A set of his teachings were around the Prajnaparamita, and in the Tibetan system they teach mainly 3 of the many sutras relating on Prajnaparamita. Does anybody remember the 3 types?
The 3 types of the 3 types.
Yeah. Those 3 sutras.
There's 3 types. There's the long, which is 80,000 lines, 12 volumes.
Right.
There's the medium, which is, some say 20, some say 25,000 lines, which is 3 volumes.
Right.
And then there's the short, which is 1 volume and 8,000 lines.
8,000 lines.
And then there's 2 others.
Yeah.
The condensed, which is about 8 chapters.
Yes.
And then there's the essence of the heart, which is, depending on how it's printed, usually 1 to 2 pages.
Thank you. I'm glad he's in the class because I don't know. No, fantastic. Really good. So we're teaching this 3. Yeah. The main 3, which are the long, medium, and short, and together they're called the Yam. What are they called? Yung. Together they're known in Tibetan as Yung. Yeah. Which is? Speak up.
Mother.
Mother. Yeah, it's not a rude word in here, right? It's a really good word. Mother. Why mother? Why is it called mother? Well, this Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom, this collection of words, these ideas that were spoken by a being who saw ultimate reality and could figure it all out, which is sort of where we want to get to. Why would that particular set of ideas be called a mother?
It gives birth.
Gives birth to Buddhists. Ta-da! Tick. If you're following the questions, you might be able to do the quiz. So, how long ago were those spoken? I sort of gave the answer a minute ago.
2600 years.
Yeah, when the Buddha was around, going blah blah blah, right? In a very enlightened way, not like me. Okay, what's the root text? The root text. So all this is important because it sets a foundation for the concepts we're going to learn. You will, at the end of this course, know way more than the average Buddhist in the East, really. So I want you to know the essence of where these things come from, so you can say, hand in heart, these are authenticated, real, tangible, tested, tried to be broken ideas that produce results. So then our job becomes grabbing those and putting them into practice as we walk out into the broken L train and figuring how that doesn't cause us suffering like everybody else, complaining, yelling, fainting, screaming, bitching, and so on, right? Yeah. So what's the very root text? that we're studying from, and where did it come from, and who wrote it, and how long ago? That was the previous course. Lamsa Namsum, is that what you're saying? Yeah. That's what's Lamsa Namsum? Let's have a look. 3 principal paths. Yeah, good. That's the prerequisite for this one. But good on you. No, it's good. I want that, by the way, because if you do that, it means you're trying, you're making efforts, and you're internalizing. You can't sit here passively and walk out of there and expect something to change in you if you just hear some words and just walk out. You've got to try something. And so that trying has just cemented some learning for all of us. So thank you. Yeah? Fail away. So the root text is, remember, it's the ornament to realizations. Yeah? By who? Master? By who? Asanga wrote it? Master Asanga wrote it? He wrote it, right? Yeah. Who's the author? Huh?
It was channeled.
Right, okay, good. We're getting to this weird part of Buddhism. Okay, let's have a look. And let's knock it in the head. Okay, so who wrote it? So whose text is it?
The big one?
The big one? No. The ornament of realizations, which makes commentary on the Yum, on the collection of the sutras, right? Are you all following? All of you who don't know anything about Buddhism, you're like, what the hell's going on? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So this text is a commentary on...
This is explaining Yum, yeah? So we're going to try and dig down the Prajnaparamita, try and understand it through not the 80,000 verses, which are 80,000 lines, not the medium or the small. We're trying to say, well, let's find a commentary on it, yeah? A beautiful text that explains it, called Ornament of Realizations by Asanga. Wrote it down from who dictated it? Maitreya. Who's Maitreya? Future Buddha. So now we're getting really weird, right? Like I'm sitting here in Manhattan with train problems, and there's some dude called Maitreya channeling down to Master Asanga, some guy I don't know. Right? That was a problem for me when I first heard this stuff. So got some guy channeling a future Buddha. Yeah. But when you read the text, apparently, and I don't understand Tibetan enough to see this, but my teacher does. First of all, it's a very hard text because it is an ornament to you already having realized some things. So it's a very complex text describing, explaining the Prajnaparamita. That's number one. Number two, towards the end of the text, it changes tempo and pace, and he says, Geshe Michael, when he describes it, that it's like a different person is writing it, and you can see a shift in the text towards the end. So Tibetans believe that it's channeled through Maitreya, through Asanga by Maitreya, but we're not actually going to study it. So thank you for going metaphysics on me for a second. So who wrote the early Indian commentary to the Ornament of Realizations? Does anybody remember? I'm not sure if I covered it either. Did I? I did. I went through it really quickly and going, we're not going to study any of those.
Yeah, you said the name.
Okay, fine. The reason I want you to hear the names, and I'm not expecting you to walk out of here and go, oh, I understand that. I'd rather you understand the concepts. But the names are important because these are characters that will reappear through the 18 courses. And you'll get very familiar with Master Asanga. You'll get very familiar with Maitreya. And if you begin to build, I guess, you know those police sketches when the robber is not around and, you know, what do you call those things? That one, a dossier. You'll begin to get an image of these beings in your mind. And that has some importance later on in your career, okay? So that was Master Haribhadra. Around when, do you remember? Good on you, Mary. Woo! And then there was a Tibetan commentary on that, which is closer to our dates. By, does anybody remember that? The name of that, for example?
The analysis.
Wow, someone is working. Analysis of the perfection of windows of wisdom by Kedrup J. No. Tempa. Kedrup Tempa. Yeah, some other dude. Darje. Kedrup Tempa Darje, who was 1400s, 1493.
Is that the same as Sankapa?
No. Tsongkhapa was? So is it?
1357 to 1419.
Yeah, so it's after. Yeah. So, because he was basing his analysis of the perfection of wisdom on Tsongkhapa's commentary on all the other commentaries.
Okay.
The reason I'm telling you this is because you could see how ideas that translate very pure thoughts that lead to realizations through time tend to get washed and have to be represented in modern times, so we get them. So every couple of hundred years someone says, oh, what that means, because you lose context. Language is this shifting thing, so you lose context. So you don't have to remember any of this stuff, but I want you to get this impression that there is characters that you will visit over and over who are people from which we gain this lineage of information that has not just been written down very anally retentive, but also passed down verbally like I'm doing to you. Like someone did it to me, like Khenso Rinpoche did to Geshe Michael, like Trizan Rinpoche did to Ken Rinpoche, as well as the Dalai Lama, the current Dalai Lama, Pabonka Rinpoche before them, all the way back to these beings that we're telling you about. So this is extremely authentic, extremely rare, and if I don't do this, I'm doing you a disservice, because then I'm just giving you information. I'm like, hey, it's a good idea if you do this, and then if you listen to me telling you this is a good idea, like this is none of me, it's not my ideas. If you listen to me telling you these ideas, you must, with that logic, go to the next bastard on the street and listen to their ideas. Because if you believe mine because I said so, why can't you believe hers? She said so. You know, so what basis do we have to actually make logical conclusions and analyze facts around our world if you're just going to believe everybody? You have to apply your own logic, and these people have done it for us. They present their logic and we have to think about it. If it makes sense, good. If it doesn't, I suggest we park it. So then all that talks about the perfection of wisdom, but the course is about taking refuge. And there's two things needed for taking refuge. Did we talk about that? Okay. So let's talk about nominal refuge, just taking refuge. What does that mean? Going for protection. Yeah, we are forever. We're these funny creatures. I mean, just a tiny change in temperature has made everybody a little crazy in the island of Manhattan. A tiny change in temperature, and our minds are gone haywire. We're like, oh, I'm walking slowly, and I'm swearing at cab drivers. I mean, like we're zombies, you know? Seriously, it's a tiny change in temperature. And that's not a big catastrophe. You know, like, so then we go for refuge to air conditioning. We do. You know, we're seeking out a cab with air conditioning. I'm not getting in the cab. You know? I'm moving to the center of the L train rather than the edges, because the center's got the air conditioning straight down, not circling. Yeah? So, we are these creatures walking the planet, forever looking for refuge from minute to minute. Minute to minute. Us and every other thing on it. Seeking some kind of refuge. So the Buddhists go into detail about what the hell refuge is. And so we talk about two things needed for the act of taking refuge, of seeking protection. What's the first thing that you need to have? You're scared shitless about something, right? You have to say, I'm scared that something's going to happen. I'm going to melt because it's so hot. As a child would do it to mom. You know, mom, help me, because something is threatening you. So first you must have this sense of fear about something hurting you. And it's not like fear like I learned growing up that, the church has set up the big churches to scare you so you have fear. It's not that. We have this fear all the time that we can't figure out our world. And we have very real threats that we seek protection for. So the first thing you must have to even begin the refuge process is you must have fear of something. Added to that, you must also believe you don't have the power to combat it, that there's nothing inside of you that can fix that thing coming at you. The heat is overwhelming. I can't change my mind about melting. So I look for something else, which is the second part. What's the second part? So,
Belief or faith.
yeah, well, it's sort of a belief or faith. That actually has that, but you have an external object usually that says that thing can help me. Here's the threat. I'm scared. Scan the world. That thing can help me. Then you have some faith that they have power you don't have. That's why we go to mum and we don't go to sister, because sister's a bitch. She's actually. I'm swearing today. I'll take that.
Your sister's sweet.
It could be the change in temperature.
Is it the identification of the thing, or do you just believe that thing?
That's a good question. We're going to get to it when we get to the definition of one of these things. Yeah? If you can find the word in there that gives you that answer, I'll give you some of my very cool, refreshing water. You won't find it, that's right. Barbara? No. So 2 things needed, right? For just regular refuge, just normal refuge. You're scared of something hurting you, threatening you. Yeah, it could be as slight as a change of degrees in temperature. You don't think you've got any power over that thing, and you instantly think of something outside of you. You don't even actually, it's not a conscious thing either, by the way. Yeah, you instantly look for the thing that you think can help you. You have some faith, some belief that they can help you. And of course, we do it with sex, with food, with work, with money. We do it all the time. We don't get up out of bed if we don't have this. You have some fear that if you don't make money, you can't live in that apartment. So you take refuge in your job, because you think if you sit at a desk or behind a desk or serve some tables or do something, money's going to appear in your bank account and you can pay your rent. That's why they call it work, because they have to pay you to go there. You don't want to go. Oh dear. Buddhist, so that's regular refuge. We just talked about this idea of you have this state of mind and you think something else can help you, and so off you go. Yeah, and then you have an experience. Buddhist refuge is, it's that, but the objects of refuge are different. So what are the objects of refuge in Buddhist thought?
Can I just ask a question? So,
Yeah.
Buddhist refuge is saying it has to come from a fear, or can it just come from a not understanding how the world works?
That's a fear. So if you don't understand that's a great question, by the way, because if you don't understand where the world comes from, you're lost. You're like, and that the reason that's a beautiful question is because we have this human condition that we think that just because we turn up to work 90% of the time and we do certain things, we get paid. Yeah? But not everybody that turns up to work gets paid. So everything we do in this world is flawed. Everything we do really from this perspective isn't cause and effect clean. Yeah? We're doing something else in this world and somehow getting results that don't correlate to the actions. So we can't, like taking the aspirin. Yeah, or what do you guys call it? Is it aspirin?
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it Panadol. Yeah. Do you guys have Panadol?
No.
It's like aspirin. And you have a headache and you take it, and not every single time you take it does the headache go away. So then you can't say that the pill or the content in the pill removes headaches. Impossible. It's so simple, but we're so accustomed to do that thing that we go, oh well, that one didn't work. I won't question why. I won't undo my whole experience of headache pills. I won't think about it consciously and go, oh my God, I've been lied to all this time. something else is causing the headache to go away. I better go and investigate what that is, just in case I find the ultimate cure to headaches. We go and take another one and go, maybe that one will work, and that one will work. And when it doesn't work, go to sleep. Next day you go, oh, headache's gone, don't think about it. It's like the fish, you know, they go around every minute and go, oh, there's a rock. There's a rock. Well, like that with a slightly longer time frame. So that's a I call that like a innate fear. Like we're disorientated, and so we sort of make things work most of the time. You know, you do this to the girlfriend or the boyfriend, and they're nice to you, and so you keep doing it, and one day they don't do it, and you're confused, and so you try something else. You don't even investigate why. And you do it with the next boyfriend and the next girlfriend and the next boyfriend and the next girlfriend. You know? And if you're like me and you've only had 2, 100? No. Ideas. Woo! So what are the objects of refuge? I apologize in advance. Buddha Dharma Sangha, okay? And here we go. Here's my pet. What is it? Eve? What do you call it? Pet? Peeve. Yeah, bloody Americans. Pet peeve. As soon as we get words that we attach ideas to, Buddha Dharma Sangha, yeah, take refuge, Buddha Dharma Sangha, we become a thing. Don't want it to be a thing, yeah? It needs to be fresh every time. You have to think. If we could understand, and we will by the end of today, what Buddha Dharma Sangha means, what Buddha means, what Dharma means, what Sangha means. Actually, that's not technically correct. I rewind all that. What are the 3 objects of Buddhist refuge? No. It's not Buddha Dharma Sangha. You're sitting in it.
What, are you talking about the ultimate refuge?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you say so?
Why don't you say so? But it's got something to do with that. What are they? It's the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, the Sangha jewel. Okay? The 3 jewels where you're sitting in at the moment. That's why this place is called that, because it offers ultimate protection. How the hell can something offer ultimate protection? I'm glad you asked. So we're going to talk about that today. So Buddha Dharma Sangha is slightly different to the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel and the Sangha jewel. So let's give a clean definition, just a basic definition of what's a Buddha, and then what's a Buddha jewel. Okay? So what's a Buddha? Who said that? Hi. What's a Buddha?
An enlightened being.
An enlightened being. Yeah. Yeah. English is my second language, and so I used to think of a beam of light. An enlightened beam. You know, like I'm imagining myself walking around at night, going, "Oh, I'm an enlightened beam." Oh dear. An enlightened being. Supposedly, if you reach that state of being, what happens to you? This should be your goal, by the way, so you should really know what you're heading towards. Because if this is like the ultimate thing you can become, you should know what that is. So what's an enlightened being? You're not answering because you're too technical. And I love it.
That's okay.
You can help everyone simultaneously take away everyone's suffering.
So you can help everybody simultaneously and you can take everybody's suffering. Sa! Why am I suffering then? If the Buddha existed, why am I suffering?
You don't perceive any suffering. If you're a Buddha, you don't perceive anyone as suffering. You are completely free of suffering, but your goal is therefore to take that perception of your unsuffering self and teach others to achieve the same state.
Okay.
Because you can.
So can the Buddha help me?
Of course.
Sorry?
You're potential.
We are potential Buddha. In fact, the meditation that I gave you hopefully got you to touch a part of that. It's only a layer. It's not really what we'll talk about at the end of the thing. We are a potential Buddha. There's an aspect of us that's a potential Buddha, is probably more accurate to say. I'll explain that. But if you guys want to be enlightened, I'm not going to give you the answer. Yeah? If you guys want to be enlightened, If you want to reach a state of nirvana or beyond, Buddhahood, you got to know what nirvana is. No, not me telling you. You got to know, which means you got to go dig. What the hell is nirvana? What does that feel like? What would it be in my heart to if I'm a being now and I'm experiencing this universe the way I experience it now, through my senses at the moment, that filters out reality. What would that reality look like? Not through a human lens, but through a Buddhist lens, a being that's reached the end of this kind of restriction, this kind of body, this kind of limited sight, limited hearing, and those senses. You have to get obsessive about figuring that out and have that question in your head, and you should fail in trying to figure it out enough times to get you to succeed. Otherwise, no listening or reading a book is going to do it for you. This is why I'm teaching. Yeah, it's not so you walk out of here and go, I feel calmer and that was a funny joke. Because of course you're going to get the funny jokes. Yeah, I know that. And I know part of it is the really, really funny jokes that I tell. Right? But really, it can't help you. You may as well go to a spa and get massage. And then you're going to die like everybody else with some ignorance in your mind. And you didn't turn this energy that was to be human, this precious want to get better, to get evolved, to figure it out. You're going to miss that window if you don't do something about it. You've got to figure out what nirvana is. You've got to figure out what Buddhahood is. And in the first course, we talked about the courses of that. We talked a little bit, and the entire 18 courses, through them, you will get a flavor and a real sense of what these ancient texts and these people who have met Buddhas and these people who have become Buddhas describe that to be. But that can only help you halfway. You have to go internalize that. Go, how does that relate to me? What aspects of me does that talk about? Without that, you can't have an experience. And without that experience, you can't help other people, really. You're just doing the same as everybody else. So the reason I'm teaching this course is so you can get to that state of being. It's like high stakes. It's not so you can get calm while your skin falls apart and you get fat, you know? It's not a relaxation exercise. I don't mean to get really heavy. I do mean to get really heavy. This is big stakes. This is serious stuff. Very few people on the planet get the idea that they can transform into something perfect. Get enlightened. What if that's true, that you can? For some reason, these people in the room have come to a place where they are hearing that it's possible and true, and then there's some dude sharing information that got passed down to him to a bunch of people for 1,000 years in Tibet and before that in India. People that have taken that so seriously that they've left their homes, sat in caves, and transformed themselves totally, and then wrote about it. So this is my experience, and then taught about it. That's what we're here for. Someone's going to come to you and go, I really have this energy in my body that says, I want to become perfect, can you help me? And when they come, can you help them? Did I say help them instead of help them? There's my language skills. Okay. Was that like proselytizing? Thou shalt become Buddhist. Thou shalt become Buddhist. In the name of the Father. So the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel are the Buddhist places of refuge. This will all make sense if you've never heard of this before, sorry. What does that mean, you know? Because when you're sick and you go for worldly refuge, you get a sense of being helped, but it's not ultimate help, because you'll get sick again. And even if you get fixed for a little while, you'll get fixed until you die. And as you're dying, you'll be separated from all the things that you worked really hard for. All those years of work for the house that was sheltering your body, all the years of devotion to children or parents or siblings or lovers to take care of your heart, all the money you got in the bank, your favorite shirt, your best Louis Vuitton wallet. Goodbye. Like all that effort that took to get those things, nothing. So when we go for refuge for all these things and get that sense of happiness, even though it seems to be working, it's just so transient. We don't even see it as what it really is, that it's just sugar-coated suffering. It's just wasted. I mean, I did 2.5 years of a house renovation. Anybody got caught in a house renovation? Yeah. Oh, I did a house renovation. I'm thinking beautiful white walls, you see, and then the wood texture should look like this, and the floor should be shiny. The windows, I didn't think of the windows matching the wall. 2.5 years. Yeah. And then I talk to people at barbecues about their window settings. You know, what kind of glass are you putting over that? Bye-bye, 2.5 years. Bye-bye. And $250,000. Bye-bye. That energy gone. Yeah? Now, lucky for me, someone taught me to do a ritual through that, and it actually was the cause for me being here, but that's another story. But you know, we get sucked into this world refuges. If you're going to do that kind of activity, why not do that activity and level up? You're still going to do activity, you can still go to work, you can still renovate a house, but if your mindset has Buddha, Dharma, Sangha jewels in it, then that whole activity becomes enlightened activity, enlightenment producing activity, if you know how to do that. If you're renovating a house with all my buddies that are barbecuing, thinking, I've just got the best antique floors, you see. Yeah, they're lovely. They're $17.95. That means that the floor was paid for 3 generations worth. Like 3 generations of humans worked to make that floor get paid over and over and over. The house sitting there by itself from 19 whatever got paid for people's lives coming and going, entire careers coming and going. The house itself just sat there. We got paid by me, we got paid by the person I bought it from, we got paid by the person before that, and their entire lives and mine spent to pay for that house that's going to be there when I go bye-bye. So if we're going to do activity, if you figure out what Buddha Dharma Sangha is, then it can become enlightened activity. Activity coursing Buddhahood. I got so distracted. What's Buddha? What's the Buddha jewel? Someone?
Our potential for Buddhahood. Our individual potential for Buddhahood.
Give me a simpler explanation. That's good, but what is that exactly? What's our potential of Buddha? Because several people have talked about that today. Yeah, because you're going.
You could use a word, and I may be wrong, dharmakaya. And what I mean by that is it's the total reality of things exactly as they are, without our coloration and our interpretation of it. Just the arising from that of this universe. And it's ongoing, it's ever, it's not born, it's not conditioned, it just is.
So what's Dharmakaya, for those of you who are in ACI 1? The mind of the Buddha. What part of the mind of the Buddha could give us refuge? The emptiness. Yeah. In fact, for those of you who don't understand the concept of emptiness just yet, it'll come every single class, so you'll build up your knowledge on it. It is a core thing. Everything we talk about, even the supernatural stuff and the nominal stuff, everything here, there's many lessons going on at the same time. So if you understand emptiness, you will know the stuff that's happening around emptiness as we talk. Whatever level of understanding of emptiness you have, you'll be able to see that in the teachings that are coming out of my mouth at least, and in here as well. So the emptiness of the Buddha's mind, let me go back. I'll do a quick, very, very simplistic idea of emptiness. emptiness is synonymous with ultimate reality. There are two realities going on at any one time. One is the nominal reality, the stuff we interact with every day. The way we go to work and get money, that works. That's a reality, that functions. Yeah? Lying underneath that is the fabric of ultimate reality. So that's just a canvas on top, or a painting on top. This, I'm calling it a blank screen, which is the emptiness of things, the ultimate nature of things. And the way I want to describe that is, because we are human, we have some prejudices around the world, the way we experience the universe around us. And I like to explain that as, just in terms of the light spectrum, we can only see a tiny range of the light spectrum with the senses in our eyes. We don't see ultraviolet, we don't see other light. So we think the light we see is the way light is. That's ignorance, yeah? That's relative reality. The true way light exists, if you remove the human eyeball, or if you added the human eyeball, the animal eyeball, and all the other eyeballs that could ever exist on this universe onto light, the summation of all those, all of them would have a slightly different interpretation. That might get close to the ultimate potential of light. But in reality, it is none of those things from its own side. It is blank of having any of those qualities. That's emptiness from the eye perspective. Yeah? So humans we are forced to think that the way we see things are the way they are. That's one of the fundamental ignorances about our condition. We go and behave towards those things because they're appearing towards us in that way. We think that's the way they are. We act towards them when we get a half-assed result, because it's only a half-assed experience of what it really is. Emptiness is the thing that lies beneath that. If you peel away the fabric of what's going on around us and really got to experience, it's not even a sight anymore, it's not even a sound anymore. You got to experience the ultimate nature of things, of being. That's emptiness. Does that give you a tiny insight? So if that's true, the meditation that you did to start with, where I got for you to find in you the potentiality of what that future Buddha of you would be, yeah, that in itself, that you that you're seeing that in, is blank of having that nature. It's empty of having that nature of being the way you are at the moment or the way you could be in the future. There is no nature about you that holds those things. That's just a moment over that blankness, right? So that's the emptiness of your mind at the moment is the same as the emptiness of you as a Buddha in the future. So in that respect, that's the Dharmakaya, yeah, the emptiness of the Buddha's mind. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let's go to the next refuge, which is Dharma jewel. So for those of you who are feeling new, Dharma has so many meanings. The most common meaning is what? What's a Dharma? What's Dharma? Sorry. Jane? Texts. This is Dharma. This is information on wisdom. Yeah, Dharma. Text. Stuff. Traditionally means, Buddhist scriptures and that kind of thing. That's Dharma. So can that protect me? Against fire? No. Against rain? No. Right? Can the text protect me? No. Can the Buddha himself protect me? Let's go back, reverse one.
No.
Could he protect me? No. Right? Good. So what's the Dharma jewel? Sorry, that's one interpretation of Dharma. Sorry, I'm going fast and slow. Dharma is text. What else is a Dharma? A Dharma. A realization is a Dharma. Thank you. Mary, I love you. Good on you. It's awesome. Dharma is a realization, a Dharma, to have a Dharma. So, and what that means practically for you, again, I want to remove all this attachment we have to words like Dharma, Buddha. Sangha. What a Dharma means to you is when you have an aha moment, where you think the world is this way, and then something happened to you and you grew up, and you went, oh my God, shoes. No, oh my God. And you realize that things were nothing like you thought, and you get this aha moment, this deep aha moment about the way the world, your world is working. That's a Dharma. That's a serious Dharma happening in your mind. Yeah? Dharma is also every existing thing is a Dharma. Yeah? But the way people use it is Dharma is the books. The ultimate Dharma, if Dharma is objects or realization, the ultimate, the highest Dharma there could possibly be, the highest above high, what could that be?
The emptiness of it.
Excellent, beautiful, bowing down to Goddess. Emptiness, the highest Dharma, the direct perception of that ultimate reality, that's the highest of all Dharmas. Everything sits on that. Having a direct experience of the matrix is the highest Dharma. Not when you intellectualize it, yeah? But when you actually have done enough study to understand it, had enough discipline to shut down your senses and sit in meditation, have done the courses that imbue your mind with the capacity to have that experience, so put in place the courses. And one of the major courses for having a realization of emptiness is what? Of wisdom is knowledge. To get wisdom, you must have knowledge. Yeah? To get knowledge, you must have information, study hours, actually learn stuff, try and break it, make mistakes, figure it out, find out what nirvana is, find out what Buddhahood is. So in order to get this experience of emptiness, you must have a practice to be able to shut down your senses so nothing distracts you and it's just you and mind, which is you and mind.
I have a question, and it occurred to me before when I was reading this. It seems that there's a very subtle difference between the mind of the Buddha, realizing emptiness, and the emptiness of phenomena itself. It seems like it's almost the same thing. It's reality. The Buddha's mind is all of reality, and that's the Buddha jewel, and then the Dharma jewel is reality itself. It's such a subtle thing, I don't quite grasp it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I think I know what you're saying. I think the question first, I think, is advanced for this level of class, but I think it's got to do with the three spheres. So when we talk about the three spheres in later classes, this is the way I rationalize that thing. Because, I'm trying to simplify these three jewels so we have a beginning seed for all the other practices. But I still don't have a firm personal feeling about that very subtle difference. What is it? Is it that or is it that? I totally understand your question. I think I have the same question, but the way I go through it is through the three spheres. Yeah, the understanding of the three spheres. So we talked about the Buddha's emptiness. We talked about this experience of emptiness, which is understanding ultimate reality. And you will first get it intellectually through knowledge, and you only get knowledge by studying, and you only get studying by really checking your facts. Yeah, which is classroom hours really. And then if you've practiced meditation enough to be able to get your body in place, so your body is not a distraction. If you've got your mind with enough information that you don't have to go, oh, I think I've got that course in effect about reality. Shit, I forgot. Better go study. And so if you haven't got it in your mind already imbued through practice, you won't get there. So you have to get a clear understanding. So when you're in meditation, you don't need to go and check your facts. You know your facts. You've tried and broken them in your everyday. So when you're in meditation, you're just in your mind. And your mind begins to peel away the nature of reality, either of yourself or other things. And if you've planted the courses, you will have a direct experience of the matrix. And that has a flavor to it that takes about 15 to 20 minutes of your entire meditation. You're actually not even in your body anymore. You're in a different realm. And you have a direct perception of emptiness. When you come out of that, a whole bunch of things happen to you. The Buddha described them in the Four Real Truths to start with, and the rest. That's the highest of all dharmas, of all realizations. The ultimate nature, the ultimate realization, this understanding of, you'll see it as understanding of suchness, emptiness, and the rest. That is the Dharma jewel. And then we'll talk about how the hell that protects you anyway, you know? And then the Sangha jewel, what's that?
Aryas, the beings that have seen directly.
Oh, beautiful. So, Sangha in Buddhist terms means, usually we think of them as monks and nuns. Oh, that's the Sangha over there. Or we're a Sangha, we're a group of hippies going on. Yeah? But the real Sangha is the Sangha that appears in your experience of the world when you meet a being or beings who, without you forcing yourself to, you know that they've had that experience that I just talked about seeing emptiness directly, having a total experience of the way reality truly functions. And so you imagine walking this planet with 7 billion people and everybody's looking for, how do things work? Why doesn't my aspirin work? And how come I worked really hard at school and I didn't get that job? And how come I worked so hard and I don't get enough money? And you see people stumbling through the way the world doesn't really work and somehow continuing like zombies to try and make it work. And you imagine walking through that planet, and then one day for you meet a being who you know has had that ultimate experience of really understanding the true workings of this planet, and has seen the ultimate reality, has peeled away the non-functioning of this world, and you have this direct experience of them as that enlightened being. And you call them Aryas or Arhats, right? These are two types of beings who can become the Sangha jewel. These are beings that, upon your perception, they have the wisdom to show you, because they've done it, this ultimate nature of reality. What's the difference between an Arya or an Arhat? An Arya is someone who has seen emptiness directly. An Arhat is someone who has seen emptiness directly but reached the end of the path, at minimum nirvana. Yeah? So either of those beings really are the jewel of the Sangha. That's all well and good, lovely stories, nice history, beautiful information, but how the hell can that really help you? How can that help you, really? How is that different from just going to the doctor for medicine? Or how can it help you? Why is it ultimate protection? No, I want you to think that while you go and have something to eat. See, I'm being melodramatic. So I've got all about it. Yeah, no, I really want you to think about it. You know, to be a Buddhist, you have to have some qualities. You know, like, I don't think Buddhists ever call themselves Buddhists. You know, initially, you know, they're just people that have worldview, figured something out, got taught by this enlightened being stuff, and practiced it. And then later on the Brits went, oh, that's a Buddhist, and that's a ist, and that's a bist, and that's an activist, and that's a feminist, and that's some other functionalist. Yeah? So I'd like to think about Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, Sangha jewel, something in that. Obviously, it's got something to do with emptiness, right? Because it's the Dharmakaya, the emptiness of the Buddhist mind. The highest Dharma, this experience of emptiness, and beings who have seen emptiness directly. Emptiness being a synonym for the ultimate nature of reality, the potentiality from which everything is. Yeah? It's got something to do with that. How the hell can that really protect you from the failings of this world and even the perceived happinesses which end up in pain anyway. You know, I mean, I keep saying this, for me, one of the most impactful lessons that I got initially about coming face to face with the reality of my world was that even the happinesses that I thought were happiness, you know, I had relaxed home, I had some money, you know, I had long hair. Took refuge in my long hair. The Buddhists say even every just let me speak. You know? It's like licking honey from a razor blade. that you initially get that taste of sweetness. Oh, look at my hair. You know, and if your hair's going to fall out later on and you're so attached to it, the razor blade cuts deep. Yeah. So any happiness that's necessarily always followed by a suffering can't be called a happiness. Ultimately, it's a suffering. So that's one of the first lessons that really hit me hard. And when I wanted to reject it first, but when I looked at it more and more, I couldn't turn my back to it, especially with my hair put out. No. So yeah, have a break. Come back in 10 minutes, please, and we'll start class 1. No, I'm kidding. You can go away now, unless it's too hot out there. Hi, it's so nice to see you. Did you see that?